What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Ice from Game Changer Sports Network. Today, Kevin and I are going to be discussing the NCAA regional tournament that's going to be starting this weekend. At the end of this weekend, there are going to be 4 college teams heading to the Frozen Four in Buffalo for a chance to win the national championship. The 4 regions right now for this year are the West, Northeast, East, and Midwest. The Northeast is in Manchester, New Hampshire. The East is in Providence, Rhode Island. The West is in Fargo, North Dakota. And the Midwest is in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So do you want to start off with the West, Kevin?
Yeah, so our 2 matchups in the West are St. Cloud versus American International AIC. And then we got Ohio State versus Denver. So I'm going to hop right into the St. Cloud AIC matchup. I think St. Cloud's basically going to run away with this one. They seem pretty dominant over the year. Just looking at some of their stats, they're first in win percentage over all the other college teams at a .847. They're 29-4-3 on the year. They're also second in goals scored at 148, which with 36 games played averages out to about 4 a game. And they're first in their scoring margin at 1.94. So, I mean, a lot of times they're winning by 2 goals in a specific game. And their penalty kill and power play are both within the top 10.
Yeah, I gotta agree. St. Cloud State is in the NCHC conference. They did not walk away with it this year. Minnesota Duluth did defeat them in the championship game, but it's a lot stronger of a conference than the Atlantic that AIC plays in. And although AIC is having a very good year for their school, I just don't think the strength of schedule is going to help them in any way. And I do see St. Cloud State pulling away with this one. I'm going to go into the second one, which is Denver versus Ohio State. I am going to go with Denver in this one. I do expect it to be a very close game. In my opinion, these teams do match up very well against each other. But I'm just going off the sole fact that Denver does have a little bit more experience within the past few years in the Frozen Four. But Ohio State was in the Frozen Four last season, so I would not be surprised if that helps them get past Denver in this first round.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have to go with Ohio on this one. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I mean, their stats are really similar. You know, Ohio had 20 wins, Denver had 21, but they both had 10 losses and 5 overtime losses. So their win percentages are like neck and neck. They both have a little bit over 100 goals scored on the season. And they're both within .05 of like a scoring margin to win. One thing I did hear though is Ohio State has 15 players on their current roster who have been to the NCAA tournament before. So I think that player experience is going to go a long way for them. Also, their goalie Napier, his save percentage has been pretty good this year. I think it's been a little bit better than Denver's. So I think in a really close matchup, maybe that will give them the edge.
Yeah, definitely this game is going to be the closer one of the first 2. But however, in both of our opinions, regardless of who wins between Denver and Ohio State, we both still have St. Cloud State pulling away with this regional win and going to the Frozen Four. I just see no other team in this region being able to match up with St. Cloud State right now.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
So if you don't have any other things to add to the West, let's head over to the Northeast. That's going to be played, like I said, out of Manchester, New Hampshire. We have the first matchup is UMass versus Harvard. It's going to be a battle of Massachusetts. UMass is in their second ever tournament appearance, and they're seeking their first Frozen Four appearance. Harvard was in the Frozen Four just 2 years ago. So they do have, in my opinion, a little bit more experience. However, this season, UMass is the better team. So I'm going to say that UMass will be able to just go right through Harvard. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely have UMass as well. If you're looking at their stats on the year, UMass is the third best college team as far as their win percentages go. They're at a .778, whereas Harvard's a little bit further down the list at a .661. I believe Harvard's ninth. Harvard does have the best power play percentage, though, as far as stats going towards them. But then again, if you look at the list, UMass is right behind them at number 2. So I think that it's going to be a close matchup. One interesting thing is that UMass has 2 skaters who are in the top 10 for power play goals on the year. Or, I'm sorry, points per game on the year. So Makar and Pritchard they both have about 45 points throughout the season, which averages out to a little over a point per game. And then Harvard's Adam Fox actually is number 1 in points per game. His stats average out to about 1.5 points per game. But if you look at all of them, they're all right at 45 and 46. So I think some of their star players might make the difference in this matchup.
Yeah, I love that one. The next game we have is Notre Dame versus Clarkson. Notre Dame did walk away with the Big Ten Conference Championship, and Clarkson just walked away with the ECAC Conference Championship. On top of that, Notre Dame is looking to solidify the 3rd straight Frozen Four appearance. They are coming off of a national championship defeat to Minnesota Duluth last season. So that has to be fueling like their fire right now to avenge that loss. And that just has to be a huge boost, in my opinion, to Notre Dame for the experience factor that the majority of these kids have played in 2 Frozen Four appearances. And I think that's going to put them over at Clarkson, on top of the fact that Clarkson does not have a hard schedule as Notre Dame does.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you're looking at their play throughout the year, Clarkson definitely has a better win percentage. But like you were saying, Notre Dame's been playing harder teams. They're in a harder division. So I'm going to have to give it to Notre Dame as well. But I believe we agreed again where we're taking UMass over Notre Dame to take the Northeast and go to the Frozen Four.
So that's 2 out of 4 teams right now where UMass and St. Cloud, in our opinion, should be solidifying a spot this weekend to go to Buffalo for the Frozen Four. You want to start the next region?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to hop into the East. This region's going to be a little bit more interesting because Tim and I don't really agree on anything this time around, which will be fun. We got Minnesota State going up against Providence, and then we got Cornell going up against Northeastern. So I'm going to hop into it. I'm going to say that Providence is going to be able to beat Minnesota State. When you're looking at stats as far as win percentages, Providence is definitely a lot further down on the list than Minnesota. Minnesota has a .800 on the year. Providence has a .641. But when you look at all of their other stats, they're really pretty similar. I mean, they're both within a few points for like their scoring margins. I mean, if you round up Minnesota, a lot of times they're winning by 2 points. But Providence is well over a 1 point a game for scoring margin. And as far as their defense plays, goals against average per game, Minnesota's at a 1.7, and Providence is at a 1.97. So I mean, their defense is giving up between 1 and 2 goals a game. So those are pretty similar. Their PK and power play percentages are all within extremely small digits. I don't want to go too far into it, but I think one thing Providence has is home ice advantage. They played on this ice before. They're playing in the Dunkin' Donuts Center, which is in Providence. Tim and I have both been there. You know, the crowd does come out to support the hockey team. So I think that's going to be one thing that might put them over the edge for Minnesota State.
I think this is the only game in this whole region that we do agree on, because I do think that PC will get over Minnesota State. And like you listed all of that, I just have to add that, in my opinion, PC is probably coming from a stronger conference in the Hockey East. Minnesota State, they did win the WCHA. However, they only had to go through 2, maybe 3 rounds to get through that. Providence didn't walk away with any title from the Hockey East this year. But when you have teams like Northeastern, BC, BU, every single season you're playing against. Even UMass this year was in the Hockey East, and they had an unreal season for UMass. So I do think that strength of schedule and, like you said, home ice advantage is going to play a huge role in this game. And I do think that PC will walk away. However, the next game, Cornell versus Northeastern, I do see Northeastern being able to get over Cornell just on the fact that in the past 2 to 3 weeks, I think I've seen a boost in momentum and a boost in this team overall as they've won the Hockey East, which wasn't really expected of that team this season. And Cornell did lose in the ECAC championship game to Clarkson. So that could be adding fuel to their fire. But I do see Northeastern walking away with this one.
All right, so that's where I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think if you look at the stats between the two, Northeastern does have the advantage. You know, they've had some more wins on the year. Their power play and penalty kill percentages are a little bit better. But I think it's going to come down to a really close matchup. And Cornell has two guys, Barron and Ragouche. They both have 4 game-winning goals on the year. Northeastern does have the better goalie with a save percentage of .935 versus Cornell's .917. But I think if it comes down to the wire, like I believe it will, Cornell's star players will be able to pull ahead.
All right. So what do you have for the regional championship in the East?
So I have Providence over Cornell to go to the Frozen Four. I'm going Providence all the way.
I have Northeastern over Providence. So that was definitely going to be an interesting region. Honestly, PC is the home team in this, and they definitely will have the home ice advantage throughout. But I expect Northeastern to travel pretty well coming down from Boston. That's only about, 45 minutes to an hour away. I think that school will definitely show up, especially after them winning the Hockey East. So if it does even come down to PC and Northeastern in that region, that's going to be a really good game, in my opinion.
Which I would be extremely excited to see. I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, with the exception of Minnesota State, I mean, Cornell might be a bit of a travel, but yeah, Northeastern within an hour away from the dunk for sure. So we're definitely going to see a lot of out-of-towners come in. And, I mean, the dunk has plenty of seats. It's a good arena, so it'll be fun to see the electricity in that stadium.
All right. We got one more region, which is the Midwest, and that's Minnesota Duluth versus Bowling Green in the first game. Minnesota Duluth is the defending champions, and like I said, they're trying to make it their 3rd straight Frozen Four appearance. Bowling Green has not made a Frozen Four since 1984, so I do expect just experience and strength of schedule being a factor in this game. I do take Minnesota Duluth over Bowling Green in this one.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Looking at stats again, Bowling Green has the better win percentage. They have the better penalty kill, and they've got a little bit higher of a scoring margin. The only thing Minnesota really beats them on as far as stats goes is the power play percentage, but I think they're playing in they have a much harder schedule. And like you're saying, they're trying to go back for their 3rd time. I just feel like that momentum pushing forward is going to be strong for them. And I don't see Bowling Green pulling out a win.
And like I said, and you said, they're going for the 3rd time in a row. If they win this year, they would be back-to-back champs. They won the NCHC over St. Cloud State, which is the #1 ranked team right now, 3-2 in double overtime. So that team has to have a boost of momentum right now.
Absolutely.
So the next game is Arizona State versus Quinnipiac. Arizona State is in their first regionals appearance in school history, and I think that's going to be not really the greatest thing that they need right now, because I wouldn't be surprised if they come out overwhelmed with emotion, and Quinnipiac just does take this one pretty easily.
Yeah, Quinnipiac definitely has a lot more experience in this tournament, especially when looking at someone like Arizona State. And they've had a decent amount of rest in their recent schedule. So I think a team who can come out composed and well-rested versus a team who's coming out maybe a little bit more battle-worn and, starstruck by the fact that they have the ability to compete in this tournament, Quinnipiac might just be able to sweep them under the rug.
Yeah, definitely. So that would leave us with Minnesota Duluth versus Quinnipiac in that regional final. I am taking Duluth to go back to their third straight Frozen Four. I think that would be a huge accomplishment for Minnesota Duluth as a school right now.
Yep, I'm going to agree with you on that one. Minnesota Duluth over Quinnipiac.
So right now, the 4 teams that I have in my bracket going to the Frozen Four are St. Cloud State, UMass, Northeastern, and Minnesota Duluth. What are the 4 that you have?
All right, so I got St. Cloud State, UMass, Providence, and Minnesota Duluth.
So very similar, a few change ups in one region, but let's just go over a few quick facts right now. Like I said, AIC, Arizona State, and UMass are all seeking their first Frozen Four appearance. Minnesota Duluth is seeking their 3rd straight. Notre Dame is seeking their 3rd straight. Notre Dame is coming off a national championship loss, so that team has to be on fire. Ohio State is seeking their 2nd in a row. Northeastern is seeking their first Frozen Four since 1982. And St. Cloud State, although they are number 1 in the nation right now, they only have 1 Frozen Four appearance in school history, and that's 2013.
Oh, awesome. Good to know. Did you have anything else to say before I wrapped it up?
That's all of these games are going to start Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and they will wrap up Sunday at about 6:30. Once these games are done, the Frozen Four will be set, and the semifinals for the Frozen Four are going to take place on April 11th at 5 and 8:30, and the finals is going to take place on April 13th at 8 o'clock p.m. Check out all of these games. They will all be on one of the ESPN channels. Also, everybody don't forget to check out Game Changer Sports Network and Inside the Ice Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube accounts. At the beginning and end of each episode, there's a slide with all of our information. Check it out and share anything you want. We'll see you guys.
Yeah, I hope you liked our content on this little NCAA tournament. We're definitely going to have some more coming soon. And if you agree or disagree, pop over to our channel and let us know, because we definitely encourage the debate.
All right. Have a nice day, guys.